All right, today we're diving into a classic folktale that is just packed with wit and absurdity. It's the story of four brothers who have an incredible gift for observation, but are cursed with absolutely zero common sense. Let's get into the wild tale of the Four Foolish Brothers.
And this right here is the whole story in a nutshell. We're about to meet four guys who can see the world with almost supernatural clarity, but they just can't seem to understand it at all. It's this paradox that's going to send them on a truly unbelievable journey.
So, our story kicks off, like so many do, with a death and an inheritance. After their father passes away, the four brothers are left with a single horse, and a very, very strange problem.
Their solution to this problem, well, it tells you everything you need to know about them. Instead of, thinking about the horse's value, they take the idea of dividing the inheritance to its most literal and kind of gruesome conclusion. They decide the only fair way is to chop the horse into four pieces, with each brother getting one leg. This is our first real glimpse into their complete lack of common sense.
Luckily, a stranger happens to walk by and steers them towards a much, much better plan. Just sell the horse and split the money. Phew, but their trip to the city doesn't last long. That very night, a thief steals the horse while they're sleeping, and when one brother wakes up, his reaction is just baffling. He doesn't panic. He just calmly says, "Oh, someone named Ramzan Khan must have taken it," and then they all just go back to sleep, totally unbothered.
Okay, so their horse is gone. The brothers just keep walking. And this is where their bizarre, almost magical talent for observation really starts to get them into some serious trouble. On the road, they stumble upon some tracks, and their strange gift just kicks in. One by one, they start making these impossible deductions. "It's a male camel," says one. "It's blind in one eye," says another. "It was carrying a heavy load, and it broke its rope and ran away." Just from a few prints in the sand, they've built this perfect profile of an animal they've never even laid eyes on.
And right then, who should appear? The camel's owner. When the brothers describe his lost animal in perfect detail but swear they've never seen it, he does what anyone would do. He assumes they're the thieves. Their incredible perception has just landed them in hot water, and now they're being dragged off to see the king.
You'd think they'd learn to maybe keep their mouths shut, right? Nope. Even as they're being marched to the king, they spot another set of tracks. "A woman's footprints," says one. "She was angry when she left," adds another. "And pregnant," observes the third. The fourth brother finishes, "She ran away in the middle of the night." Again, it's just astonishingly accurate.
And boom, right on cue, the woman's frantic husband shows up. He hears their impossibly spot-on description and immediately accuses them of kidnapping his wife. So now their list of alleged crimes is getting longer, and what started as a simple trip is now a procession of accused criminals heading to the palace. So they finally arrive at the palace, facing a whole list of accusations. Standing before the king, they have to explain how they know so much, and their defense is every bit as strange as they are.
They claim to have something called Ilm-e-Ghaib, which is basically the mystical knowledge of the unseen. They argue it's not logic, it's a kind of supernatural power. The king, he's skeptical, but also kind of intrigued. So he decides to put this so-called power of theirs to the test.
The king puts an object in a box and challenges them. "Tell me what's inside." The first brother says it's small and round. The second adds that it has a little crown on its head. Putting those clues together, the third brother declares it must be a pomegranate. And he's right.
The king is absolutely blown away. Through this weird combination of perception and pure luck, they are declared innocent. The king dismisses their accusers and even orders that Ramzan Khan guy to pay them for their stolen horse. The four foolish brothers walk out of the palace, not as criminals, but as rich men.
So they're rich now. With their newfound wealth, they go out and buy a whole flock of sheep. But what happens when you give four fools a fresh start? Well, they pretty much immediately lose all the sheep. And then, in a moment of pure comedy, they try to count themselves.
And this is just peak foolishness. Each brother counts the others but forgets to count himself, so they all think one of them is missing. A clever horseman comes along, offers to find their lost brother by simply counting all four of them. They are so overwhelmed with gratitude that they declare themselves his slaves for life. In a single afternoon, they've gone from rich men to indentured servants.
Their new master gives them each a job to do, and as you can see, the results are, well, they're disastrous. The first brother is told to keep flies off the master's mother, so he kills her with a stick. The second is told to feed the oxen, so he slaughters them. The third is ordered to get the wheat ready, so he burns the entire field. And the fourth, who's supposed to watch the sheep, just lets dogs eat them all, saying it was God's will. It is a true masterclass in catastrophic failure.
The horseman, somehow keeping his cool, comes home to this trail of destruction. He's got a dead mother, dead oxen, a burned field, and no sheep. But believe it or not, the story isn't over. There is one final, unbelievable misunderstanding still to come.
The master tells them to go dig a grave for his mother, one that's as deep as an ear, which is just a figure of speech for a certain depth. But what do? They dig a hole, and then one of them literally puts his ear next to it to measure. They end up with this tiny little hole, just a few inches deep, and call it a day. This moment right here perfectly captures their fatal flaw. Absolute, unfiltered literalism.
And that brings us to the grand finale of their incompetence. They're sent to bring the mother's body to the grave, but they lose it on the way. Their explanation? The corpse must have just run away. When the furious master sends them to go find her, they just kidnap the first old woman they see as a replacement. At this point, the horseman has finally had enough. He sends the poor woman home, buries his own mother, and kicks the four brothers out for good.
And that's really the heart of the story, isn't it? These brothers can figure out the secrets of the world from a single footprint, yet they can't understand the simplest human instruction. It leaves us with this question. What's more important, incredible perception or just a little bit of common sense? When brilliant observation meets absolute foolishness, who's the real fool here?